today is where I expose the harsh truth and the reality of dropshipping in general. So, not just the game plan, but also what to avoid in terms of networking, what to focus on, put your energy into, as well as what to do. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about on day 25 number one is, what's the plan? What is your goal? What is your plan? So most of the time when you watch, let's say there's a person who has only watched short form, okay? Or let's say they've only watched the main gurus of the space and they've done it for a year. And trust me, as absurd as it sounds, 1 year is nothing. There's people who, I'm sorry, if you're watching here and you're part of this, trust me, I was one of them too. So there's people who spend a year just watching and thinking that they're learning. Okay, I fell into this trap when I was studying. It's a big trap. You don't want to be doing this. The best way you could, the best thing you could do, in fact, is actually take your risk, enter the journey, okay, enter the game, and while you are in the game, watch someone who's actually transparent, and then that way you would feel that you're not the only one who's struggling. You know that there's people out there who are actually going viral, no making sales. It's not only you. That way you will understand that it's not easy, like all these gurus have shown you, and you're gonna learn once you fail. I keep on saying this. Failure is more like lessons. Most of my lessons are from failures. So back to this guy who has spent 1 year watching short form or just the main, guru stuff. If you were to compare their information with someone else who has watched, for example, this bootcamp information here is going to be completely different from this. Okay, there's a few factors to why this is the case. So short form is usually, or okay, forget short form, I'm gonna even make it more realistic. Let's think about all the 3 to 5 minute videos of the main gurus who get hundreds of thousands of views. Their primary objective is to sell you the dream and entertain you. So you would watch for a year thinking that you're educating yourself. So instead of watching Netflix or, I don't know, the next football game, you're watching your favorite guru and thinking that you're educating yourself. The problem with it is that the reality here is they have made their videos to show you what you want to see. So, for example, showing you that it's easy, and along the way, while they're showing you that it's easy, they would actually show you a bunch of tools which you need to get that easy results. And unfortunately, most of these tools are usually sponsors. So you could create whatever conclusion you would like to make, but I can safely tell you that I don't use any of these tools. Okay, in fact, you could start making sales, you could build your brand without using any paid tools. Okay, and by tools I mean SaaS companies, so apps. You don't need to use any apps to find your first 10K product. However, obviously, whenever you start making more sales, you want to reinvest. So apps on Shopify are completely different from what I'm talking about here. This is more about the upfront sort of tools which you'd want to use to whether find your product or source the product once you get orders, or even worse, spy on your competitors, so checking their sales. There's a lot of tools like that. This is supposed to be literally a different number here. This should be number 2. These tools which tells you the sales of your competitors are the biggest lie. There might be a few out there which are real, but for the most part, this is coming from me and a lot of people which I've networked with. They all tell me the same thing. They've checked their own brand or their own product, and it showed that they're making 50k plus, but in reality, they made nothing. Okay, and I was included. My very first product that I've ever went viral with, I checked my own, website, and to my surprise, it showed that I've made like 15k or something, where I only made like 1k. So don't believe that. And the problem here, you know why this is a problem? Is because if you are following the guru stuff, you're gonna use these tools. You're gonna check, like you go on your burn account, you find a product, you plug it into this tool, and it's gonna tell you this guy made like 30k last month. You're gonna order the product, record, post, waste a month, and then maybe go viral, or maybe you don't. But if you do go viral, you're gonna find out that it is a bad product. It doesn't convert. So that's why it's a big lie. And perhaps there's a few out there which are real, but generally I would say don't even use it. Don't use these sort of tools. And then the first one is the game plan. The game plan is completely rigged in terms of expectations. So you watching for a year, you would create an entire plan out here in your mind, which is completely different from mine or people like me. So I've tried everything. I was this person right here, and I've tried for a year and a half pump and dump products. I've tested the dumbest products out there. Nothing worked until one day I was like, okay, I'm done with pump and dump. I know everyone's saying me go for pump and dump, but no, I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna try to make something for myself, which I would be proud of. So I would run a product which I know can be run for over a year, where I could build it and then maybe exit, you know what I mean? So something which has a legacy behind. And the problem with this area here is that, unfortunately, I'm being as transparent as possible. When people sell you pump and dump courses, the problem with it is that, firstly, there's a very low chance for your pump and dump product to pay off, okay? Because there's thousands of other people running the same product. Everyone's copying each other. There's so many competitors, and there's little to no value to the product. You're just solely running these because of the trend or because of the wow factor, okay? And that's a problem. You don't want to rely on wow factor to sell a product. You need value, okay? So when this happens, let's say you are amongst the, I'm going to be generous here, the 5% who actually make sales out of this product. And by the way, running saturated products is good, but you need to make sure that you follow the criteria which I've made in my previous bootcamp day. So you can search it up, check it. There's a in-depth criteria which is guaranteed to make you sales if you follow it and pick the right product. And again, we're doing organic branded dropshipping. So back to here. If you are amongst the 5% who actually make sales out of this wow factor product, which everyone's trying to promote, then the next problem is going to be is that this product is more likely marketed in an unethical way. So nowadays, pump and dump has actually reached a point where, unfortunately, a big chunk of pump and dump products are being marketed as, the small business which is going to fail, or the handmade product which is fully stitched. So you stitch a lot of videos. The problem is this is unsustainable, it's unethical, and in some cases it can get you into trouble. So for that reason, it's out of the window. We don't do this. And this year we have gotten a proof that this is not the way. Fortunately for me, I have quit pump and dump a year and a half ago, but this year I can confidently tell you it's not the way, unless you wanna, join them. And here's the thing: if you were to join them, the problem with it if you are amongst the 5% who actually make sales, what's your end goal with it? The the product's gonna work for maximum maybe 3 months. I'm being very generous here. Usually it would work for like a month. Okay, maximum 2 months. After that, you're gonna have to dump it, start from scratch, and then look for the next product for another 5% for you to make sales. So that's the problem with this. If you go to the other side, which is the branded side, you don't have to solely find a boring product which never goes viral. You could find, what I'm looking for here on this side is a product where you could confidently run and not regret for the next year. So if there is one product which you could pick and you are safe to pick and run and build for the next year, and then after the year has passed, you would look back and have no regrets, then that product in my book is a winner. And obviously, that's just one of the factors which are in the criteria. There's a long list, such as having flexibility in terms of marketing. So you don't want to be locked to one angle. You want some room for different angles of marketing. That way, you could literally, instead of changing the product every single time to follow the season, so let's say you are running a Halloween product, then a Christmas product, then something else. No, run this one product where you could market it for different holidays, different seasons, just year round. Okay, that way you're not jumping like shiny object, like what shiny object syndrome defines. Instead, you're doing it with the marketing instead of the product, and that way you're way safer. Okay, now here's the catch. This might be slower to build, especially if you're new. However, if this is just your one winner, like you set it as a winner from day one, even though you've made 0 sales, and then you put side products, okay? You find other, perhaps you could call them pump and dump products, which also meets the criteria of being marketed in different angles. So, for example, I like to give this example a lot, which is this projector. This projector by now is available in every app. So it's found on Temu, Amazon, whatever you want. It's a pump and dump product, and it's been very saturated to the point where you could get it from probably Walmart by now. The reason I'm showing you this is because this product, till this day, some people have made money, like literally a few months ago. They found a new angle, which is playing some sort of your favorite fantasy movie in the background, or just a background while you read. That way you're gonna, experience like a fantasy sort of feeling while reading. Don't ask me why, but this works. The thing is, this product has been around for 3 years or 2 years, but the fact that they've created this trend just a few months ago proves that, yet again, products like this are winners, even though they're pump and dump and they're saturated. So again, if you can find these side products and run them along with your winner or your main product, that way you could have flexibility in terms of, testing these pump and dump along with your long-term product. So that was the first controversy or lie which I would like to break, which is don't trust what you watch, especially the flashy sort of content. Anyone who's been watching for this long, especially for this bootcamp, you would know that my content has been some of the most boring in terms of there's no dopamine, it's just pure knowledge, and that's what I want. I want to just share everything I know. So this is what you need to do to win. You need to ignore the flashy content, focus on what's real, take the experience from others, case studies, all of the above, and apply to yours. And then another thing is the environment. So I think one of the first things which I was lacking or I really wanted to find was like-minded people who I could talk to. For that reason, I've even started my YouTube. Even after years of testing, I had yet to find genuine people I could talk to, especially about dropshipping. So for that reason, my Discord is free. You could join it. Everyone's helpful there. And even with the affiliate program, which is also free, you get a commission and we get to talk one-on-one calls. That's like my way of networking. Okay. So environment is really important, as you can tell, for two reasons. The first reason is it's very different from your day-to-day people that you interact with. They are way more realistic, aka they would never believe in making money online, unlike people who you would meet who are already making sales. And then the second reason is you would never lose motivation. When you see others winning, especially winning, or even losing, I think it's like the good and bad days. You will always be motivated because you have this competitive relationship with them and you would share information with them so they might know something that you don't, and likewise. So environment is really important, but you need to be careful though. You need to network in the right area, not in the bad area. Just like any other space, there's obviously toxic section of every space, whether it's a game, whether it's like dropshipping, whatever it was. For that reason, try to network with like-minded people, positive people, people who actually care for you, which is very rare. 90% of people which I would see in Discords are trying to sell you something, or bots. So yeah, that's why I'm trying to do something different. If you are relating with this, join my Discord. You will not regret it. And yeah, these are some of the lies, unfortunately. I have to say, the lie about the environment is that you would think that joining these communities would help you. 90% of the time, no, they're trying to sell you. So that's about the environment. The next lie, let's see. Next lie is the barrier of entry. So, do you need capital to start? Is there a barrier? The short answer is not really, especially with organic. You just need skills, okay? And the problem is when you watch these people, they would show you that they're starting with $1, they turn it into 1,000 in a week or whatever. That is fake, obviously. You obviously need to pay for the business, for whatever requirements you need to open a payment processor or get accepted by one and so on. So that is non-negotiable. You have to set it aside. But apart from it, there's not really much to spend on apart from the product. So yeah, a lot of people, they just order a product, they run it for a week or two. If it doesn't work, they refund it and so on. So capital is very low. You don't need much apart from the business stuff. Barrier of entry is definitely high, especially with all of these lies I showed you here. If you were to think that you're learning and you follow this route and then you test it for yourself with no environment, so no community around you, no right knowledge or no right plan, then you're literally hitting rocks into nowhere. Okay. Unfortunately, 99% of the time, you're not going to go anywhere. So trust me on this. You need the right environment. You need the right plan. You need the right product, obviously, to see success. So since we've spoken about product, let me end this with the product. And sixth would be views. I have to break this down. So the product, once again, I'm going to keep this brief because I've spoken about product a lot in the past. Product, in terms of saturation, don't be afraid of saturation. It's more about what sort of brand new angle can you bring to the product, especially if it's proven to work. if you could do that, combine it with a product which meets the criteria I've made before, then you have a brand new winner. The views is one thing which is really important. I don't know why I left it this far. This is the biggest lie. People would show you that, or they would reflect this image about dropshipping is that your main objective is to go viral and then you're gonna print. Unfortunately, the more I've networked, the more I've realized a lot of people have went viral, tens of millions of views, and they've not converted, not a single sale. So next time you go viral and you don't make sales, you think you're the only one. Trust me, there's a lot of people facing the same thing. It's normal. You just need to understand whether it was the content that was the problem, whether it was lack of CTAs, call to actions, whether it was the product or the account. We're gonna link this to the account to call it a night, call it a day. Account is what's gonna actually make your life either easier or harder. If your account is, if you live in the US or live in somewhere where your account can reach high quality leads without you even trying to change anything with the setup, then you have an advantage. Trust me. Everyone who's trying to tell you that you need the US SIM card and so on, it doesn't matter. As long as you have, or you live somewhere where you have quality leads around you in the region, then you are good to go. And in fact, I promote marketing locally. If you are living in the EU, it's actually good to run products in EU. I mean, Germany is a big example, okay? Germany is one of these markets where people have proven that it converts so well. Like 1 million views video converts over 10K for some people. I've actually seen a case study where he made over 20K from a million viewed video. Yeah, it could be wild. It really depends where you live. Obviously, you could target these markets without living there using a SIM card. But yeah, this is what I wanted to clarify, is that account setup is really important. It could make or break your business, because all your hard work needs to go to the right audience. And for you to reach the right audience, you need the right account. But yeah, there's a few scenarios where you may live in a good region and then you still have a bad account. It's fine. You just need to leave that account, create a new one, and go viral again. At the end of the day, it's our job. We just create new accounts and go viral. So you should be confident and comfortable to create new accounts and go viral. Now, for IG, it's a bit different because it actually really matters about where the account was created and where, like, the thing is, if you have someone in the US create you an account, it's not enough. That's the problem. So you either need to use the VPN method, or you just need to live in that region to reach that sort of audience. However, for TikTok, it's way easier. You just need a SIM card. I've broken this all down in a different video, but account setup is the most important. If you are posting top quality content, unfortunately, it might just reach 30% quality leads, and then 70% would go to poor leads, and that's not what you want. If you want to optimize your ROI, you're better off creating high quality accounts which are targeting high quality leads, and that way your CVR is going to be way higher. So focus on accounts. Okay, this is top. A lot of people will tell you about the product, but no. Account setup is the top priority, and then it's the product. I think that's why you might see some people who are running dumb products and you see they've printed like 20K plus. The reason they do that is probably because they have insanely good accounts as well as the algorithm, and they're just marketing the product in the right time. So when everything aligns, they will make a lot of money. So set up your account correctly, pick the right product, and then create good content. You're going to make a lot of sales. So it's not going to be easy, but you're going to increase the chances that you're going to convert. And honestly, you cannot control the algorithm a lot, but at least for TikTok, in my experience, is the easiest to target certain countries like the US. IG is a nightmare. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad. That's why I have 3 phones. I just post on 3 phones at this point. But yeah, this was the harsh truth about the game. As you can see, the algorithm is the enemy unless you master it. I mean, I've realized, I'm gonna give you a quick sauce before I call this. One trick for you to make sure that you get quality leads is posting at night. I don't know where you live, but if you live, let's say, okay, we're gonna say Western time. Let's say it's EU time, okay, boys? For EU, you're better off posting somewhere around 6 to 7 p.m. and onward. That is way more likely to bring you quality leads than posting in the morning. I'll tell you why. If you were to post at night, other countries are probably like 3 to 5 hours ahead. So that audience is probably sleeping. This way, the algorithm is gonna push, or like is gonna force it to people who have better time zones. Okay, that's how it works, and this is gonna, improve your content, your algorithm a bit, or your account reach. But obviously, setting up your account like off the bat is way more important, because that way you don't need to do as much effort to reach quality leads. So yeah, this was pretty much all the lies I had to break for today, or expose for today. Yeah, hopefully you guys have a better overview of how the game works now and what to focus on, because this is really important. And the more you understand the game, the more you know how to play the game. So thanks for watching. See you on day 26. Peace out.